What's up, everybody? Coach Clark, CPC Team RunRun. How to know if you should ignore what the pros are doing and if you should ignore what's going on social media. This is a tough thing, right? It's amazing that we've never had more access to other human beings and people doing stuff at a very high level. And running is incredible, and that you could go to an event, let's say a marathon, and you can run the same course on the same day as the world record holder or the American record holder or people that are in the Olympic trials. It's a cool thing. However, it makes it more complicated to figure out what is useful and what's not. So let's do the pros first. When to ignore what the pros are doing. I'm gonna be honest, most of the time is the answer, okay? It drives me crazy when coaches will cite what they did with the best athlete they've ever coached and use that as a reason why you should do it. Listen, the principles are the same, but you have to understand several things. Number one, the best athletes at every level are hyper responders. What does that mean? It means that if I give you the same training as them, they're gonna make way more progress in the same amount of time. Their body high responds to the training way better than yours. So just because it did this for them and it worked in this way for them, it is probably not gonna work that way for you. It's just not how it works. And super talented hyper responder athletes hide a lot of mediocre coaching and coaching errors. Two, look at their training age. Most of these people have been training hard and at a high level for 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years. If you've only been training for 2 or 4 or 6, you're not trying to do what they do now. Honestly, what you should do is be like, when you were only 2 years into it, what were you doing? When you were only 6 years into it, what were you doing? Training age matters a ton. It drives me crazy right now. Some of the top level athletes are starting to choose to utilize the bike and the road bike more, which I love. I'm a cyclist. I love riding the bike, but I'm seeing all these high school kids who just need to go run more choose to do these bike workouts because they see that a handful of the pros are now doing cycling workouts intentionally and they're sponsored by some cycling companies. And it's like, listen, that's awesome. Cycling is awesome. But you are not where they're at. They have been training at a high level for so many years. You're only 2 or 3 years into it. You just need to run more. So instead of doing this cycling workout that you saw whoever do, no, you need to run more. You need to do whatever it is your coach is telling you to do. And the third reason you should ignore what the pros do is it's their job. They can do some things that you can't do. They can sleep 9 to 11 hours every day. They have access to sports massage, physio. They have access to technology and things that we don't even know about. In fact, a lot of them might be doing stuff that isn't illegal right now, but will be down the road because it's some new treatment or it's some new therapy for healing bone or healing muscle or whatever. It's their job. It's not your job. If you're only sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night and you don't have access to all these recovery tools, and when you're not training, you're at a full-time job and or you're raising kids and or you're in school all day because you're studying for your AP exam, it's not the same. You look at, this drives me crazy. They'll look at like a week, like a 1 or 2 week cycle of a pro and be like, oh man, we got to hit this workout. We got to hit this workout. We got to do. It's like, no, you need to do less hard workouts because they're recovering way faster than you are because they can, because it's their job. You might need some more time. I've had plenty of athletes run very fast on 1 hard workout a week, depending on where they're at in their training age. So ignore the pros because they're hyper responders, consider their training age, and remember it's their job. Now, when should you not ignore the pros? Principles. This athlete made a breakthrough because they increased their volume. You should increase your volume. This athlete actually didn't increase their volume this year. They have done high volume for a certain number of years, and what we did is we actually looked at the quality of the work and we improved their quality. If you've been doing mileage and you've got your mileage pretty high and you've been doing it for a while and you've been stuck, maybe you need to back up and look at the quality. This athlete spent some more time in zone 2 this past year so that their hard days could be harder. Polarity of training is a thing. You should consider that. Again, this is why you need a good coach. There were periods of time in my career where I had to push hard day to day to make some breakthroughs. And then once I got through that and I had a couple years of that, I had to back off and I needed my hard days to be harder and my easy days to be easier. So when we're looking at principles, training philosophies, and things that are backed up by science, listen to the pros. Now let's do social media. Ignore social media. Most of the time you should ignore social media. I'm just gonna tell you, like 99.9% of what's on social media is trash. It is, it's not good training. What gets clicks and likes likes is not what actually works. How to filter through it. One, find one or two people that you trust and only follow their stuff or people that they repost. Another way to think about this is pay more attention to what they actually do. And that's hard on social media. If people are talking about the research shows this, and this research paper came out with this thing, and this is the new breakthrough thing, nobody cares if it's not what they actually do. A lot of times, people are on social media talking about what they read, what is trendy, what's gonna get clicks, what's gonna get likes. It's not what they actually do. So find out, what does the coach or the athlete, or what do they actually do in their day-to-day training, or what did they do in their day-to-day training when they had the same training age as you? What they do matters way more than what they read about. And this is what the best coaches, the best teachers, and the best mentors will do. They'll talk to you about what they do. Here's another thing, okay? Research is complicated and it's also lagging. So number one, it's complicated. If you aren't very scientifically literate, you will not be able to tell if a study that got published in a peer-reviewed journal is trash or not. You just won't. Unless you are scientifically literate enough to pull the paper, and who's got time to do that? I don't, and I'm a nerd, and I love reading scientific papers. I tried to read papers, especially in the summer when I'm not teaching, but we don't have the time for that. But even if you had the time for that, if you don't know how to look at the population of the study or who it applies to, right? We know for a fact that tons of research from the last 30 to 40 years was only done on men from ages like 18 to 24, because it was just college students and dudes were doing it. So we know that a bunch of the research that's been backed up doesn't even apply to female athletes sometimes. But this goes back to, you need to have a good coach. So research is complicated, so ignore it unless you're an expert or you have somebody you can go to, or you are very scientifically literate. It's also lagging. Guess what? The highest level training groups, they're doing stuff that you will not see research about for 5, 10, 15 years. You just won't. Recently, a great book about Norwegian method and double threshold came out. You would have to ask them, but I guarantee you, they've been doing that for a much longer time than it has been written about or it has been talked about. So the research is lagging oftentimes, and this goes back to number one, what do they actually do? So, in summary, ignore the pros almost always because they're hyper responders, they have a way higher training age than you, and it is their job. You should not ignore the pros when it comes to training principles, things they did when they had the same training age as you, and things that fundamentally are backed up by what good people are doing and what good research backs up. Ignore social media almost always. Go find people who tell you what they do. I love following the crew out at BYU. The strength coach is awesome. He posts what they do. He's crystal clear, right? So follow people that have produced results and tell you what they do. I'm not going to tell you about the research. I'm going to tell you what I do. If people post stuff where they're citing some new study or some new research, unless you are scientifically literate or you have somebody you trust who is, ignore it because it's complicated and it's lagging. Hope this is useful. Peace.